All right, welcome back. Let's turn our focus a little bit on the United States. Now, the 11-month presidency of Donald Trump in the United States has highlighted the huge gulf between expert analysis of his accomplishments and that of his diehard supporters. That's the view of a political journalist and analyst who has reported on the incumbent since before his shock victory against Hillary Clinton last November. Many of his major policy promises remain unfulfilled, and what he has managed to enact through executive orders has seen the United States increasingly isolated on the international stage. Sherwin Bryce-Pease looked back at 2017, otherwise known as the year of Trump.
If you're a member of President Trump's core support base, then you think he's doing a great job. He often tweets about how the stock market has hit record highs and how unemployment has fallen close to 4%, the lowest level since 2000. But we've witnessed a retreat by this US administration under his America First policy, while some decisions have alarmed even close allies abroad. With his popularity hovering at around 32% less than 1 year into his presidency, this analyst believes his focus has almost entirely been on keeping that minority of support on side.
The first year of the Trump presidency exposes the big gulf between the way the press and experts in various fields view the president and the way his own base views the president. If you're in the position of a member of Trump's base, you see a lot of what we call red meat. Policies that may be small in their impact, but that really have an emotional appeal to his supporters.
I am directing the State Department to begin preparation to move the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem.
This announcement to recognize Jerusalem as the Israeli capital saw Washington rebuked by the rest of the world. His withdrawal from the Paris climate change agreement stunned even a majority of Americans. His controversial travel ban against Muslim-majority nations continues to work its way through the courts.
I, Neil M. Gorsuch,
while appointing an ultra-conservative Supreme Court justice was seen as fodder for his base.
It's credible insofar as the fact that the president won the presidency by only appealing to a small number of American voters. And if he's able to convince that small number, 30% or so, that actually got him into the White House the first time, and he can keep appealing to them and they think he's doing a good job, it's conceivable he could win election again, even if the rest of the American public has serious doubts about the trajectory of his presidency and the success he's had so far.
His Twitter feed is what often directs the day's political narrative, a platform he has used to praise his accomplishments, demean his opponents, or attack the media critical of his conduct. He also continues to hold campaign-style rallies where his supporters gather to refuel a president more unpopular than any of his predecessors in recent memory.
What a crowd!
I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that President Trump has lost his popularity faster than any other president. Typically, even when Democrats see a Republican elected, their support for that leader goes down through time. But Trump's sort of drop in popularity has been precipitous and very dramatic. And I think it's very telling that his legislative agenda, even when he has control of the presidency in both houses of Congress, is in the mud.
These are truly dishonest people. And not all of them. Not all of them. You have some very good reporters. You have some very fair journalists. But for the most part, honestly, these are really, really dishonest people. And they're bad people. And I really think they don't like our country. I really believe that.
President Trump's relationship with the media is contentious, to say the least, and I think one of the most worrisome trends that has been observed during his presidency is this repeated refrain about the fake news. If you look around the world, we are now seeing a number of governments that the U.S. would usually be trying to censor in some way, who are now using this term freely. The Syrian government says it's fake news when there are reports about people dying in their prisons. The Myanmar government says it's fake news when there are critical reports about the Rohingya population. This is a pattern that's repeating itself around the world, and if President Trump hadn't created this new vocabulary for these governments, it's unlikely they would feel so comfortable making those kinds of proclamations.
It's all fake news. It's all fake news.
Hovering like a dark cloud has been the investigation into allegations of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, an investigation headed by a special counsel and former FBI Director Robert Mueller, who has already targeted a former Trump campaign chair, former White House National Security Advisor, and a lesser-known foreign policy advisor to the president's campaign, among others.
The man leading the Russia investigation, Robert Mueller, is famous for never bargaining down. Every step he takes is in pursuit of getting someone bigger to fess up to something. And I think we have seen in the progression of people he's been targeting of movement to go after Trump's inner circle. Now he's already very close to that inner circle by capturing the president's former national security advisor. So the question becomes, is it one of President Trump's relatives? Is it a member of his senior staff right now that might be the target of that investigation? I think we are getting to the point where the walls are closing in around him. But the question is, where does the special counsel leave this investigation?
And while President Trump settles into his first end-of-year holiday season in the White House, there has to be some recognition that his 11 months have galvanized millions around the country in opposition to his agenda, evidenced today after his inauguration when millions of people marched in Washington and around the globe. The midterm elections could further stymie whatever legislative agenda he might have, with early indications that Democrats could take at least the Senate back come the end of 2018. Sherwin Bryce-Pease, SABC News, New York.